red? Am I hot? I know I'm hot. What's up? I'm Trent Windsor, and we're here in search of the perfect shuffle. It's time for another segment of Clearing Out the Archives, where I shuffle my music and whatever album it lands on, I review song by song. If the song is more than 50% skippable, I say get rid of it. And if you would skip it less than half the time, I say keep it around, leave it in your playlists and on your shuffle. Last time we shuffled our music and we landed on the Black and White album by the Hives. The Hives are a punk rock group from Sweden, and they really stand out from the rest of the punk rock scene. They describe themselves as a velvet glove with brass knuckles, both brutal and sophisticated at the same time. They're these well-dressed, well-groomed guys. They've got a clean-cut uniform, but despite all that, they're surprisingly rowdy. I've always loved the raw energy that the Hives put out, even while keeping the instrumentals tight. When the Black and White album came out in 2007, the Hives hadn't released anything in 4 years. They got a major visual overhaul, going from like 18th century bow ties to full-on tuxedos, transitioning from Disney Channel Jonas Brothers haircuts to modern day Jonas Brothers haircuts. This album was definitely their best known in America, and it was featured on countless movies, commercials, TV shows. They even did an NHL halftime show, which that is the big time. You do an NHL halftime show, you know you made it. But did this album really deserve all the hype? Let's find out as I review it song by song. This album actually has 15 songs to it, and I feel like these songs can really be grouped together into a really solid tier list. A lot of YouTubers doing tier lists these days. iDubbbz kind of kicked it off with the fast food tier list thing, which I have a lot of problems with. Taco Bell is S tier, okay? Ian, my boy. And H3H32, I will fight you guys verbally. The songs in this album, there's not a huge variety. I think they fall into really convenient categories, and so I will be rating these songs on a tier list: S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, and the lowest of all, F tier. Let's just get started on this. The songs in S tier have everything that make a Hives song great. You've got this raw, uncut, untethered energy with still, like I said, some very tight instrumentals. The tunes are very catchy, they're a lot of fun, but they're high-paced and pretty intense. They're generally pretty short, not too long, which I think is a hallmark of a great punk song. In these S-tier songs, the Hives do a great job of keeping them short, but really catching your attention while they've got you. All this is topped off with the supreme confidence and delivery of Howlin' Pell Almquist. He is the singer and the front man of the Hives, and he just has this crazy energy that extends out to the rest of the band. I think the song Tick Tick Boom from this album, the very first track, is a perfect example of everything that I just said, of everything that makes the Hives great. Songs in S tier from this album: Tick Tick Boom, You Got It All, ... Wrong, Hey Little World, and Square One, Here I Come. All of these songs in the S tier are 25% skippable. As we head down to A tier, there's just a few things that kept these songs from being in the S tier, but I still think they're pretty great. They're still catchy, they're still confident, they're still very fun, and still just incredible vocals from Howlin' Pell. I am just blown away by this dude. If you haven't heard the Hives before, it's worth checking out this album just to hear his voice and just to get a little taste of what he's bringing to the table. The problem with these songs is they're just a little bit too long, and they just have a little bit lower energy than the songs in the S tier. I would like a little bit more energy out of these songs, but still really great in general. The songs in this tier are Try It Again, Won't Be Long, Return the Favor, and Bigger Hole to Fill. All of these songs in the A tier are 35% skippable. Next we go down to the B tier. The songs in the B tier don't really fit the style that the Hives usually have. They don't quite fit in that box. You can see the Hives taking risks here, and in these cases it kind of worked out. Maybe not the way they wanted it to, but it worked out enough that they're worth giving a listen to, worth keeping around. The song Giddy Up is really fun, really funky, but it's not necessarily energetic. Yeah, it's super weird, it doesn't really fit, but it works. You Dress Up for Armageddon. This one is more bouncy and has more of a sweet, peppy melody. Fall is just something that grown-ups invented. Is a lot looser of a song. It's a lot more anthemic, centers around kids not wanting to go back to school in the fall. It just doesn't quite fit in with the tight instrumentals that the Hives usually have. It's just a little bit more untethered. All of these songs in the B tier are 45% skippable. Next we go down to the C tier. What makes these songs C tier is that they're surprisingly low energy, especially compared to the rest of the songs, especially compared to the S tier. These songs just seem like the Hives are phoning it in a little bit. They drag on way too long, maybe just because of that, and the melodies are pretty forgettable. Songs in the C tier include Well Alright and Thehives, which the whole chorus is Thehives. Kind of tires me out just singing the chorus. It gets me a little bit bored. The songs in the C tier are 70% skippable. And then we go down to the F tier. These two songs in the F tier, they have like a weird Addams Family, Mystery Manor, spooky sounds for Halloween vibe. You know that $1 CD you get at Walmart and it just has a bunch of witches laughing and like random zombie sounds, and behind it is just like some slightly eerie xylophone music. That is the vibe that these two songs in the F tier fall under. One of the songs in the F tier is A Stroll Through Hive Manor Corridors. This one is more of an interlude of a song. There's no vocals. It almost feels out of place, but because it feels more like an interlude than an actual song on the album, I won't count it in the overall score. The other song in this category though, Puppet on a String, is just boring. It's just a really weird song, and once again, the Hives took a risk. It didn't necessarily pay off in this case. These songs in the F tier are 90% skippable. And those are all the songs. Those are all the tiers. Overall, mathematically speaking, this album as a whole is 43% skippable. This may be the Hives album that received the most popular attention, especially in America, and it's definitely a worthy offering. It's an album that I've enjoyed in the past and that I continue to enjoy, but I don't think it's their best album. I feel like this kind of marked the beginning of the decline for the Hives, as their next album wasn't as good as the last, and then they haven't released anything since then. It's not the most innovative or varied album just in general. There's definitely a solid sound that the Hives stick to, but when they're at their best, they really pull off this sound well and do it justice, and when they're at their worst, they are wandering far from their wheelhouse. All in all, a fun album with some high quality punk rock offerings from the Velvet Glove with the brass knuckles, the Hives. Let's shuffle our music and check out what I'll be reviewing next time. Alright, so we're just going to go into our music library and go to albums and hit shuffle. Alright, looks like the next album I'll be reviewing is Kanye West Presents Good Music Cruel Summer. If you like what I'm doing here, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel, turn on the notifications, and leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the Hives. Let me know what you think about these songs. Let me know what you thought about the album in general. I will be linking the music video for Tick Tick Boom below in the description. And stay tuned next week for my review of Kanye West Presents Good Music Cruel Summer. I'm Trent Windsor, and this is The Perfect Shuffle. I'm a hottie. And also I'm sweaty.